Hi, everybody. To quote Bono, it's a beautiful day. I cannot record outside because the birds are too loud. There are airplanes. I live on a river, so there are geese honking as they fly down the river to migrate back to wherever they're going. And it's so loud. So I'm inside, I'm sitting on the couch. Brian said I have to sit upright or it sounds like I'm sleeping. We're in the middle of a war. What does it matter? Things are looking bad. Things are getting stupider by the minute. I'm seeing reports and aerial photographs of pistachio fields being decimated. So the pistachio war is also raging on. Iran has definitely lost the pistachio war against California, amongst other things. But ultimately, I think they will pull through. Speaking of expensive products like the pistachio, let's talk about Wegmans. Apparently, they are selling cardoons, which, if you haven't seen one in a grocery store, it looks like a cross between a ear of corn that still has its husk on it and a bunch of celery, a celery bunch. They are artichoke-like in flavor. They're always at Colonial Williamsburg, growing thereabouts. Brian says every year that he's going to plant them, and he never does. I guess I could just go to Wegmans. Speaking of food products that you may not have had before, camelina meal. Brian brought home a bag of what he told me was camelina meal. I looked a little bit more closely at it. It's seeds. It's camelina seeds. He put this small bag of camelina seeds in my baking pantry where I keep all my baking things. I said, what is this? Is this a mistake? Are these seeds that you need to plant? He said, no, I got it from work. I got it from one of the professors, the agriculture professors. You can use this in baking. I looked it up. Apparently, it's a pet food ingredient. So you take the seeds, you press them, you extract the oil. You can use the oil for things. But the meal that remains after pressing the oil is a pet food ingredient, commonly used in livestock and poultry feeds, particularly pig and horse feed. It's also used as a fertilizer. So I'm not sure what I should do with it. Brian said you can use the meal like wheat bran in baking applications, which I do love, but I don't think he realized that these are seeds. I've seen people put them in sourdough bread. I mean, when you search for recipes that have camelina seeds or meal in them, it's few and far between. It's like one person on Facebook made a sourdough loaf with camelina seed. Most people are using, wait, am I even saying it right? Camelina. Camelina oil is what most people are using. I found an Irish government report on camelina production and its economic potential. Pretty interesting report. The report is titled Crop Quest. It's by it's by a bunch of people at UCD Dublin. So it's a crop that's native to Finland and Romania and regions east of the Ural Mountains. It's a summer annual oilseed plant. Line dodder, wild flax, and gold of pleasure are the most popular common names for the crop. Seeds and capsules of the crop have been found in archaeological excavations from the Bronze Age in Scandinavia. The crop has been an important oil crop for centuries, with references to its cultivation in the Rhine Valley region of Germany as far back as 600 BC. The crop was widely grown in northern and eastern Europe up until the 1940s, but was replaced with the introduction and widespread use of oilseed rape. Why would you call it that? The crop is sometimes referred to as false flax and reaches heights of approximately 90 centimeters. Camelina is regaining prominence as a health product due to high contents of the omega-3 alpha linoleic acid content. So I don't know. I have like a quarter cup of seeds. I don't really know what I'm going to do with it. Probably nothing. Okay. Found out this week that one of my sisters has never had Triscuits before. I lived off of Triscuits in college. That's all I ate, boxes of the salt and pepper flavored Triscuits with avocado. That's it. That's why the Back to Nature version of Triscuits were so horrifying to me and tasted like water. Triscuits are superior. They are covered in those flavor crystals that are designed to trick your brain into not being able to stop eating. Ooh, so this same sister is now into wheat thins, she's discovered. I don't love wheat thins. I think I've complained about them on here before. The last time I've only eaten them recently because of Brian's parents keeping them on hand at all times, which I encounter when I dog sit at their house. I have terrible memories of them. They're too sweet, but I do love that they have a salty glaze, like they've been sitting out by the ocean. They live by the sea. Their size doesn't make sense. They're too small. You couldn't put any piece of cheese on it, maybe a cheese crumb. They're basically oyster crackers, but flat, functionally. Okay, I need to stop talking about crackers. Let's get into some recipes from another spiral bound community book called Our Favorite Recipes from Hester Baptist Church. Okay, cheese ball is the name of this recipe. 2 8-ounce packages of cream cheese, 1 package of good seasonings, dry Italian dressing. Mix well and make into a ball. Roll in pecans. Refrigerate. That's it. Also, they did not include pecans in the list of ingredients. I turned a few more pages and discovered the barbecue sauce page, which includes multiple barbecue sauce recipes from members of Brian's extended family. The best part of it was that the barbecue sauce page is covered in barbecue sauce. Splatters. I don't know what happened. Okay, easy salad is a recipe. 1 container of Cool Whip, 1 can of crushed pineapple, 1 cottage cheese, 1 box dried orange jello. Mix well, put in refrigerator for 2 to 3 hours to congeal. I mean, there are a ton of recipes like this. I mean, it's basically half of the cookbook is recipes like this. Casserole, 4 chicken breasts, 2 cans of cream of chicken soup, 2 cups of rice, 1 cup of chopped celery, a third of a cup of chopped onion, 3/4 a cup of mayonnaise, 2 cups Rice Krispies, half a stick of margarine, half a cup of blanched almonds. Cook and chop chicken breasts. Mix first 7 ingredients with 3 cups of broth. Put in greased casserole dish. Mix 2 cups of Rice Krispies with margarine and put on top of the chicken mixture. Bake at 350 for 30 minutes. Makes 2 casseroles. Add grated cheese if desired. If you freeze, do not put Rice Krispies on until ready to cook. Okay, the first time I read this recipe, I was like, what the hell is this? Now that I'm actually reading it out loud, like a butter Rice Krispie topping does sound good. Okay. Different pecan pie. 3 egg whites, 1 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 cup of graham cracker crumbs, 1 cup of chopped pecans, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Beat the egg whites until stiff. Beat in the sugar and baking powder. Stir in the crumbs and the pecans. Pour into a greased 9-inch pie pan and bake at 350 for 30 minutes. Top with whipped cream when served. Huh. I'm trying to imagine like what this would be like a pavlova, like a meringue. And then you put whipped cream on the meringue. It is different. Okay, I found 3 recipes for something called Japanese fruit pie. I asked Brian about it. I was like, you're from the South. What's going on? He didn't know about this. I had to look it up. It's basically a fruit pie that is some combination of eggs, sugar, coconut, raisins, nuts, and vinegar. And it has a flaky crust. I don't know It looks bad. Okay. Some runner-up favorite recipe titles: Fantasy Fudge, Pink Cloud Fruit Salad, Glamour Mushroom Rice. And here's the final recipe that I wanted to share with you. Brunswick stew. This is very popular in this area. A lot of churches and fire stations make large batches of it, as you know, to make people sick. And then they have to dig holes in the ground and pour all the soup out into it. Sometimes it works out though, and you don't get sick from it. So here's Brunswick stew: 8 hens, 20 pounds of pork, 20 pounds of beef, 15 pounds of onions cooked whole. They will melt. 4 gallons of butter beans, 4 gallons of corn, 4 gallons of crushed tomatoes, 30 pounds of potatoes, cook whole. They will melt. 4 to 5 pounds of butter, 2 quarts of tomato ketchup, salt and sugar to taste. Here are the directions. When you stop cooking, add tomato ketchup and salt and sugar to taste. This will make 30 gallons. Great. Okay, let's move on to scents. I have really one new scent to share with you, but I do want to add that I'm wearing an old sample of Le Labo Lys, Lys. I think it's number 41. I'm not keeping track. I gotta say, it just smells like the perfect beach day. The perfect, like it's a little bit cool and breezy, and you've got a cooler all packed up, and you're the only person at the beach, and it's just the perfect beach day. That's what it smells like. Wow. Very neroli forward. Very white floral. It's perfect. Okay. But it is a little bit one-dimensional to me. I think like you could just buy a neroli extract and get sort of the same sensory experience for way cheaper. Okay, let's talk about fern, double F fern, Lunasa. This is my second fern scent that I'm reviewing. Here's the official description. Under the flaxen sun, people tread the ancient bounds, remembering the pathway to other seasons. They they braid ears of wheat into long, accustomed shapes, ready for burning and for release. Lanasa is the first harvest when the year's hard work reaps its reward. It celebrates the ripeness and warmth of this spoke on the wheel, poised between summer and autumn. A heady scent that sits close against the skin, lingering and sparkling like sunlight. Durange, I think is her name, the creator, says, I love how the kumquat brings energy to this batch with its distinctive and beautiful natural texture. To me, Lunasa smells like foraging blossoms and fruit under a glowing sky. The first hint of change in the air. It opens with a burst of citrus, ripe and soft. Kumquat leads in the dance, both playful and refined. Lemon follows after with a touch of sugar, fading into neroli's golden nectar. A haze blows off the rolling hills and valleys, bending the light. We capture the dry, soft dust in an accord of nutmeg and brown-eyed rock rose, delicately spiced. Looking for florals at the heart, they choose jasmine grandiflorium with its hint of apricot to pair with the powdery rose de mai. For the harvest itself, they imagine the heat rising from the sun-soaked earth, shimmering amid the stems and releasing the aroma of the grasses. Hay was blended with vetiver for its green-toned earthiness. This accord became yet more intense when woven into their great corn dolly. Standing tall and ready for the evening's celebrations, the earth itself is baked like clay with a scent all its own. Oh my God, hardened by feet and the strong afternoon sun, tonight the straw man will burn, sculpted into kindling, scorching the hay, a final release. The stars will light as the smoke rises, the embers cool, and the ashes blow away. Lanasa features top notes of kumquat rind, nutmeg, white grapefruit rind, lemon rind, key lime rind, olibanum, and green mandarin rind. Middle notes of rose de mai or may, jasmine grandiflorium, bergamot rind, bay leaf, rose geranium, hoe wood, and neroli. And base notes of hay, siam benzoin, red cedar, brown-eyed rock rose, and vetiver root. Here's my review. Oh, that's what I said when I put it on. Oh. It's inky, it's bitter, it's dark, it's dirty, it's nasty. Vetiver, citrus pith, and soap. Cocktail bar. I put this on after my morning shower and almost took another shower so I could wash it off. It smells like my Neutrogena grapefruit scented clarifying shampoo, which runs about $10 a bottle, so there's an option. Okay, we're moving on to the internet. I saw a TikTok video. I think it's a bar in the Bronx. It actually looks pretty good. It's a Oaxacan restaurant. What are they called? Tobala, 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 Tobala. Beautiful space. They're making orgeat syrup, which is traditionally made with almonds for tiki drinks with avocado pits. I showed it to Brian and he said, "What could that taste like?" I also don't know if it's safe to consume avocado pits. I don't think the research out there is conclusive, and so they just recommend that you don't eat them. So, I don't know, concentrating avocado pits down into a syrup feels like a bad idea. Half Bake Harvest. Okay, let's talk about Half Bake Harvest for a second. I've always, when you Google recipes and there are 5 million results, and one of the blogs that comes up is Half Bake Harvest. It's always a question like, who the hell is writing this blog? Is it someone's mom? Is it Brian's mom? Is it AI? Is it someone who knows how to cook? Well, apparently, Half Bake Harvest doesn't know how to cook, doesn't taste her recipes, steals them, and has not one but two brothers named Oslo, one of which died, and then they got another brother. So they got another brother. I think the first one was adopted. They adopted another brother and named him after the first brother that died. This is all alleged. I don't actually understand what's going on. Okay, so I found this out from this TikTok video. Reality_witch is bringing this content to me. Now she has a lot more details than I do. So yeah, there is a lot of evidence for her being Half-Baked Harvest, stealing recipes. Apparently she has allegedly has an eating disorder, a raging eating disorder, baking addiction. People in the comments are talking about how people with eating disorders often lean into baking to use it as a trick. That's not the word I'm looking for. What is the word I'm looking for? A deflection. They're deflecting and they're trying to make it look like they eat. Anyway, so don't bake her recipes. Good. I'm glad I learned this because I probably would have ended up making one of her recipes at some point. This is not food related, but Real Housewives of Rhode Island has premiered. I guess this is food related. Episode 2, they go to a vineyard where they make wine, and the ladies are wandering out into the grapevines, and one of the girls goes, "Oh my God, these are tomatoes." Brian started hooting and hollering, but also screaming because he was mad that I watched it without him. He's not really into Real Housewives. He's only really watched Potomac, like here and there, and he doesn't even want to watch it anymore. So this was weird that he was so keen on watching Rhode Island. This is I think like Real Housewives is back. This is what the franchise series, not franchise. The franchise are the individual cities. So I don't know. Actually, I have no idea. This is what Bravo needed. I will say. This is what the entire network needed. My sister keeps recommending that I listen to Dial Dan, the podcast. I've listened to a few episodes like years ago, and I don't know. It's just like not on my rotation. But I recently listened to an episode, and it's funny. And I loved. I was laughing out loud at this particular um, memory of his. He went to Sarah Lawrence for like a talk. And he said, "Remember when a dad was living in the Sarah Lawrence dorms and started a cult?" I mean, I remember learning about this. Anyway, I would recommend his podcast for memories like that alone. I got in an argument with someone on TikTok. I mean, not really. It's this TikTok video for cafeteria brownies, which looks so good. Apparently, these are the brownies that you would get in school cafeterias in the 80s. And someone said, "This recipe isn't healthy." And I said, "It's a brownie recipe." And they got mad at me. But this is like a really thick brownie with a fudge icing. So she's taking 2 sticks of butter. Her name is Could.Matter. She's taking Hershey's cocoa powder, melted butter, whisking it together, adding dry ingredients, 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar. This video is so slow. Half a teaspoon of salt. Okay. She's stirring it. It looks just so dry. She's rolling up her sleeves. This is hard work. Okay, let's go. You need to edit yourself. I need to edit myself. I'm sitting here narrating this video to you. We can't watch this. This is crazy. Okay, she's doing something else. She's putting 4 eggs in. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Spread into the pan. So it's like a really dense brownie. But I mean, did she put I don't think she puts a rising agent in it, so it's not rising. Okay. We don't need to watch this. This is nuts. Okay. 90 Day Fiancé news. Forrest and Sheena. Forrest is a man from the Pacific Northwest who is in the Philippines to meet his fiance, well, soon to be fiance, Sheena, who's a veterinarian. And Forrest has like cameras set up in his own house so that Sheena can monitor him at all times. He also uses a fuzzy blanket as a tablecloth. You know, like the fuzzy blankets you can get at like Walmart, and his has like deer and moose on it. That's what he uses as a tablecloth in his kitchen. I think he even eats on it. Anyway, he goes to the Philippines and they decide to do a relaxing spa treatment that their hotel recommends to them, which is them being fully clothed. And these attendants make them lie down on beach chairs. And then they tie them up in banana leaves, giant human-sized banana leaves. Tie them up like they're a tamal or something to be baked, and then leave them outside in the sun to bake like their food. And then it starts to rain on them. So I guess they also got steamed. Speaking of 90 Day Fiancé, let's check in on Elise, who's the terror from Miami, who is in Miami. She's asking the Australian man that she's courting to introduce her to his son. The son has flown away to live with his mother and his mother's new husband. It's an hour and a half flight away, which I guess for Australians is the end of the world, and he says he'll never see his son again. The Australian man explains to Elise that he misses his son because he's been there since he was born. This struck me as an odd thing to say. Like, yeah, that's how biological sons work. Like, what are you talking about? Okay. America's Culinary Cup, Season 1, Episode 6. Spoiler alert, I will be spoiling this entire episode. Not that it wasn't spoiled to begin with. Okay, the kitchen is decorated to be even uglier than before, if that's even possible. The theme seems to be haunted garden. There's a gold dome in the center of the kitchen labeled forbidden. Padma walks out with the two male judges. Her hair is huge, it's teased out. She's dressed in red, and the two male judges are dressed in all white suits. The theme slash commandment is desserts, but then the theme of the kitchen slash garden is good and evil. It's very confusing. Then they're told that they have to make two desserts, one good dessert and an evil dessert. Everybody's confused. Then they have to go vote. There's two boxes, most likely or least likely. You have to cast your vote of who is most likely to win the entire show or who is least likely. How mean is that? It's just like it's getting too layered, and then I'm like, are they making a joke about like a layer cake or like a layered dessert? Are they going to make them do like it's too complicated. Like get an editor. Beverly gets voted most likely to win the show. She has a breakdown. But it feels fake. Like she's crying but her face is dry. It's scaring me. The least likely is Chris. I mean, I forgot he was even on the show. The whole episode, really, so far, is Padma speaking like an evil witch, like she's reading a spooky story to a class of kindergartners. It's a really tough watch. It's like, okay, so Padma finally opens the forbidden dome to reveal the ingredients that they have to use. Each person has to pick one of these ingredients. Use one of these ingredients: blue cheese, pickles, dandelion greens, mustard seeds, anchovies, radish, I think. I think I misheard that one. Cured black olives and sriracha. Because Chris was voted least likely to win the show, embarrassing, he gets to distribute the items. And since he's probably going home anyway, he gives himself the anchovies. Maybe he really wants to go home. After that, I mean, I probably would. Okay, side note, why do all of the microphones on Bravo shows and now this show sound like they are located inside of people's throats? I noticed this first on Vanderpump Rules, the last season, and it's like a 2005, 2006 production thing. Like people's microphones sound incredibly muffled and like they've been swallowed and are inside of people's bodies. It is driving me nuts. I can't even imitate the sounds like rainbow chocolate. I can't do it. Okay. So these people have 6 hours to make two desserts, which feels insane. So they are there all day. It's even more insane because they have stagnated starting times. Kara's making puff pastry from scratch, which is also insane, but she does have 6 hours. The guest judge is Nina Metayer, who is apparently the world's best pastry chef. Never heard of her. Matt, the guy who won the Bocuse d'Or, takes a tumble, slips hard on the floor with a stack of plates in his arms, and somehow didn't break any of his bones or the plates. So Diana, I think is how she pronounces her name. Second episode in a row, she did not finish, even though she had 6 hours. Now, she does, when they're talking about sriracha as one of the ingredients, what ingredient does she end up with? I think she gets mustard seeds. And they were like, someone was like, oh, wouldn't you like sriracha or something? And she says, I don't cook with condiments. It's like, okay. Well, maybe if you tried using them, you would finish your dishes on time. But I don't think it's so bad to use condiments in cooking, like especially in a TV show when there's time pressure. And mustard is a really basic ingredient for a lot of dishes. Um, but you know what? Being mean, but good for her for wanting to have integrity and make things from scratch. Okay, Beverly wins, unfortunately. She does maintain her composure. Deanna is obviously going home because she only plated 1 out of the 2 desserts, so she only gets half of a score. And that's how people go home. Whoever has the lowest score, it's very numerical. They love numbers on this show. It's for straight people. Um anyway, yeah, I mean when you have like $1,000,000 on the line, like use a condiment. Like whatever you have to do to get your food on the plate. Like anyway, Top Chef season 23, episode 5. We're back. Jennifer's arm is still broken. The guest judge is Fortune Feimster, who I love. I learned about Fortune from Jeff Lewis's show, his very short-lived show called Celebrity House Lift, where he renovated celebrity houses. Controversial opinion, but I do love Jeff Lewis. I know he is very awful, terrible person, but I mean, he was one of those like first Bravo reality shows that I watched growing up with my mom, and I don't know. I find him entertaining. I heard that he fired his social media person Annie from his radio show. Um, I mean, I don't know. He's controversial, but I find him entertaining. Anyway, the quick fire challenge is make whatever a trio of children want you to make. They bring out 3 local children who make up on the spot what kind of dish they want. They decide that they want a puffified Colorado and Christmas themed dish. I mean, after watching the other show and now this, I feel like I'm having a stroke. Like I watched these back to back and it was too much. Jennifer sits the quick fire out to rest up for the main challenge because her arm is broken or whatever. One of the child judges slash child laborers falls off of their chair. One of the children described the pizza puff that one of the contestants made as yuck, which is so rude. I did like that someone made a pizza puff. That's a Chicago thing, if you're unaware. Pizza puff, it's like, I don't know, they make them in a factory in Chicago. It's like a local Cisco product. It's like a local factory product that if you go to a late night spot that does like the bone-in pork chop sandwich or other like fries and random things, they'll have a pizza puff on the menu. Just like late night questionable fast food, non-chain fast food. I don't know how to describe that, but they're all over Chicago. Okay. Brandon wins. He's one of the twins. Wait, right? Oh, I keep getting this show confused. Yeah, the twins are on the show. Brandon wins because he makes ice cream. Okay, the elimination challenge is create an elevated dish featuring dehydrated ingredients. I was like, "Oh my god, they're gonna let them go grocery shopping at REI." Never mind. They have to pick their ingredients from the kitchen where they already are, go pick them out, and then put them in a dehydrator. And because it's gonna take so long to dehydrate your ingredients, they make them go whitewater rafting in the meantime while their items dehydrate. I bet Jennifer and her broken arm are excited to go whitewater rafting. The twin brothers are both making pavlovas and freaking out about it. It's like, okay, like just make the same thing every time. You're already twins, who cares? So they go whitewater rafting, they go rock climbing in it's like a giant man-made river. It's a giant man-made outdoor world, which is so Charlotte. Charlotte doesn't actually have real outdoor space. They're allowed to go back to their respective Lego condos to change their clothes and eat apples and peanut butter in the dark while Christopher Nolan movie music plays. It's very ominous. Okay, we're back in the kitchen. One of the twins, this time Jonathan, is crusting swordfish with dehydrated strawberries and then smoking it. As someone who has made a lot of dehydrated strawberries, that seems like not the right choice. Freeze-dried strawberries might be a fun texture. They sort of like crackle and crunch. Dehydrated strawberries are very chewy. Like I can't imagine trying to cut that. Okay, so we're at the judge's dining table and the Josh wine is flowing. People are whitewater rafting in the background. Some bad reviews. Tom Colicchio describes the lamb that the pizza puff guy made as hammered. Lawrence makes a wet salad. I forget this other guy's name, but he's doing pretty well. Anyway, he made a chicken soup that someone described as it felt like it was made for someone on a very specific diet. That's not good. And then Rhoda, who won the first challenge, won the second challenge. Never been done before. She's on a roll. She made a spongy monkfish that is leaching water. Anthony wins. He wins immunity. I forget what he made, but I guess the sauce was really good. Lawrence, Oscar, and Rhoda are in the bottom. Oscar, yeah, that's the name of the guy who made the pizza puff that the kids said yuck to. And Lawrence made a wet salad for a dehydrated item challenge. So first they talk to Jennifer and ask her if she wants to saw her arm off or go home, and she says she's going to stay. And they say okay, but you need to start doing the quick fire challenges, or we're sending you home. Shocker, Rhoda goes home. There was nothing redeemable about her dish. And they were concerned that she thought it was fine. They were like, "You think this dish is fine?" And she was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Okay, you need to go." So she ends up on Last Chance Kitchen. So she's going against Nana. They both have to cook a dish that honors the she crab soup, which I've never had before. Brian said it's amazing. But he says, like, if you've had bisque before, you've had she crab soup. So they're in the Last Chance kitchen, and there are loose live crabs all over the place. They're falling off the table, getting stuck on the floor on their back, or they're waving around. Nana makes crab mac and cheese. She didn't have time to bake it, so it was just kind of loose, like a stovetop craft. And then Rhoda makes Singaporean chili crab, which looked incredible. And yeah, of course she won with that. I mean, so I don't know. I feel like she'll end up making it back onto the show unless something really crazy happens. Um, okay, let's get into what I ate last week. April 6th, 2026. It was a Monday. 8:30 a.m. Little Waves coffee with half and half made at home. 10 a.m. Leftover sausage and tortellini soup with parmesan. 2 p.m. Garlic and herb water crackers. 3 p.m. A pour of GT's Trilogy kombucha. 6 p.m. Thai green curry with pork, green peppers, green beans, potatoes, and kaffir lime leaves over basmati rice made at home. 7 p.m. Bluebell Millennium Crunch ice cream. I ended up using sweet Italian sausage for the Thai green curry, but you probably would not have known unless I told you. It was delicious. I finally finished my giant container of red curry paste. Now I'm on to my green curry paste. Finishing up the Bluebell Millennium Crunch ice cream. Brian said, "What is this ice cream? It's amazing." I was like, "It's the ice cream we've been eating for the last 2 weeks." Hello. Okay, April 7th, 2026. It was a Tuesday. 8 a.m. Little Waves coffee with half and half made at home and leftover curry and rice. 10:30 a.m. Garlic and herb water crackers. 1:30 p.m. Leftover soup with parmesan. 3:30 p.m. A pour of GT's Trilogy kombucha. 7 p.m. Chicken parmesan with marinara from Ideals and romaine lettuce with Brianna's creamy Caesar dressing, black pepper, and parmesan made at home. So I went back to Whole Foods at some point this past week to try and stock up on more of these garlic and herb water crackers because it's last chance. It's on clearance and they were gone. People snatch those up as quickly as possible. I'm hoping that Whole Foods is like, "Oh my god, people love these, we should bring them back," but Brian, as a former Whole Foods employee, was, like, listing all the reasons why it's not they're never gonna bring this cracker back. Like, it probably doesn't make sense financially. I mean, it is like an affordable organic cracker, and that's what I'm looking for because they don't have affordable organic bread, so I need something that's organic. So after watching the first 2 episodes of Real Housewives of Rhode Island, I woke up with a French manicure screaming, "I need to make chicken cutlets for my huge Italian family." I needed to make chicken cutlets. Every time I make chicken cutlets, I feel like what's her name? Carmela from The Sopranos with her, like, thick, chunky French manicured nails, glossy, breading cutlets for her family. Um, anyway, I had these pretty nice chicken breasts that I got on sale. They were already sliced thinly, which was nice, from Whole Foods. Um, I basically made a double parmesan meal. I made chicken parm, and then I made a Caesar salad, which was covered in parm, of course. This is where I wish I had Sizzler plates. Sizzler plates would be perfect for chicken parm because you wanna melt that cheese on there. And I make chicken parm I keep the sauce on the side, and I just put it on at the very end. So wait, what did I do? Okay, so I salted the chicken cutlets on both sides, then I dipped them in flour, then I dipped them in the wet, which was a combination of Duke's mayonnaise, pickled banana pepper vinegar from the jar, and some mustard. Then I finished with panko. I wish I had some I mean, I don't actually think I have, like, a blitzer coffee grinder thing anymore. I mean, I have a Vitamix. Anyway, all I had was panko, which wasn't really right for a chicken parm. You want that fine Italian breading, but anyway, I had some low moisture mozzarella, which was, like, actually way too dry. It, like, barely melted. Um, and then I reduced the Ideals marinara that I had so that it was, like, super chunky, and I spooned that over it, which was delicious. Ideals in their little grocery section has, pint containers of sauce sometimes in their freezer, and, it was great use of that. Um, let's see. Brian said, "Don't ever make this for my parents or they will be over here every weekend. And at that point, we might as well open up a restaurant." That's a direct quote. So I guess they were good, or maybe not, because Brian's parents are eating wheat thins and canned vegetables. So it's not saying much. I mean, they'll eat anything. They'll eat dinner while watching the surgery channel, which Brian has walked in on them doing. I went over there unannounced once, knocked on the door, opened it. Brian's mom was eating a slice of apple pie with ice cream on it while watching a YouTube video about what the keto diet was, which she was on at the time, apparently. And by the surgery channel, I mean TLC or whoever plays that show, The Operation, for hours on end. If Brian's parents were really coming over every weekend for chicken parm, it would really be like we were on Real Housewives of Rhode Island with that scene where they have like a Escalade full of 6 aunts with flasks drinking on their way over to this house with baked ziti and cutlets and marinara. But I mean, Brian and I always joke about opening up a restaurant. There's like a little grill down at the cross section. I mean, that's like the only local civilization around us. There's like a crossroads with like a gas station and a pizza place that's pretty mediocre, and then this grill. Would love to buy the grill and just like do a cutlet restaurant. Like that's really all we have. We do cutlets. We have 3 items on our menu, and that's it. But it's not profitable. It's not Anyway, April 8th, 2026. It was a Wednesday, 7 a.m. Little Waves coffee with half and half made at home. 9:30 a.m. A cup of coffee with half and half at the office. The cake room. New York Times cooking page a day calendar recipes for slow cooker picadillo, matzo lasagna, curried swordfish with tomatoes, greens, and garlic toast, Easter egg nest cake, air fryer grilled cheese, easiest chicken noodle soup, turmeric black pepper chicken with asparagus, sheet pan chicken with shallots and grapes, skillet chicken with orzo, dill and feta, and sheet pan roasted salmon with pea pesto. Okay, that ends the page a day calendar recipes. Okay, and then we also had 2 Easter baskets filled with Smarties, Bazooka bubblegum, and peanuts, like Charlie Brown branded candy eggs, and part of a Mike and Ike flavored Peeps Pop. 11 a.m. leftover curry and rice. 6 p.m. leftover chicken parmesan and romaine lettuce with Marzetti creamy Caesar dressing, black pepper, and parmesan made at home. Yeah, things really pile up when I'm not there to monitor the cake room and see what recipes are flowing in. I don't know what happened. I mean, I wasn't there for a week and things got out of hand. Okay, so I was really curious about this Mike and Ike flavored Peeps Pop. It was half eaten. It was abandoned on the table. The Google reviews are horrendous. 1.3 stars. People are saying that it has a horrible sour flavor like a citrus cleaner. Like a citrus scented cleaner. Okay. I got to say leftover curry is the best breakfast or lunch at the office with my cup of coffee because the curry is the best complement to the coffee. The fat, the heat, the sweet, it's got it all. So, in case you can't get past the paywall on Bon Appetit's Caesar salad dressing review article, I will let you know that Marzetti brand Caesar salad dressing is their number one pick. I just opened a fresh bottle on this day. Ran out of my Brianna's, but don't worry, I got a backup. But I'm on to the Marzetti now. I'm going to disagree. I think that Brianna's is better. Marzetti is fine, but Brianna's has a better, bolder flavor overall. Marzetti feels more like 90s, like salad dressing from the 90s to me, like Italian takeout. Yeah, so I've seen about 10 movies maybe in my lifetime. Inception, unfortunately, being one of them. Brian has seen every movie, so every time he's like, "Have you seen this?" I say no. I mean, he should just assume at this point, but I was like, "Have you seen Inception?" And he was like, "No," which is crazy. I screamed because he's never not seen a movie. So I made him watch Inception. I got confused because we watched Inception on a Wednesday night, so I thought it was a Friday night, and then was confused when I had to wake up for work the next morning. Now, I haven't seen Inception since it came out in theaters in like 2009, 2010. So I kind of remembered what was going to happen, but not really. I kept telling Brian that Bradley Cooper was in it. So basically, for almost 3 hours, I waited for Bradley Cooper to come on the screen. He never did. He's not in the movie. Now that I'm older, I think I understand the movie, and it's stupid. Leonardo DiCaprio goes to an architecture department at a university to find an architect genius, the next up and coming architect, to create this dream world. But really, what he should have done is he should have gone out and like found a teen girl who was really good at Sims. They should remake Inception. It's been long enough that they could remake it, and Kylie Kardashian could be the Ellen Page character. I forget what his name is now. Okay, I had to look it up out of respect. Elliot Page. Okay, don't watch Inception if you haven't seen it. April 9th, 2026, it was a Thursday, 9 a.m. Little Waves coffee with half and half made at home. 10:30 a.m., 2 sunny eggs with Texas Pete garlic hot sauce over olive oil, toasted Whole Foods San Francisco sourdough made at home. 2 p.m., Whole Foods queso with late July tortilla chips. 3:30 p.m., a pour of GT's Trilogy kombucha. 6 p.m., Screamin' Sicilian frozen pepperoni pizza. 7 p.m., half of a slice of cinnamon coconut cake made at home. Okay, we're saying sourdough in quotations for this San Francisco sourdough that I got at Whole Foods. It's so dense. There's no crumb structure to it. I mean, it's like it doesn't even look like it's like a cracker. It doesn't even look like it had any fermentation going on whatsoever. It's extremely soft. There's no sour taste to be found. The Whole Foods queso, the store brand queso, is another new item for me, and it kind of sucks. I added some local cream top milk, Ran Lew, RAN hyphen LEW, um, which when you drink it on your own, it tastes a little bit too much like a farm. And I was like, is that good? It It leaves a streak of gaminess and manure down your throat when you drink it. I was like, okay. I asked Brian, I was like, is this like contaminated milk or is this like, what's going on? And he's like, no, this is delicious. I don't know. I think I'm just sensitive to things that remind me of animal. And then I added Texas Pete garlic hot sauce to the queso. It was fine. I will say that what are they called? I always call them early July, but they're called late July tortilla chips. We could call them sometime in July. They were fantastic. I got the uh scoop. They're called like Lay's or Tostito scoops. That shape. I got that shape. Sometime in July chips taste like fresh, super fried and oily restaurant chips. Like really good restaurant chips. That's what they taste like. I don't know why I haven't been buying these. They were on sale. I will get more. They were delicious. The Screamin' Sicilian frozen pepperoni pizza has more cheese on it than the Screamin' Sicilian cheese pizza has, which doesn't make sense because it's a cheese pizza, so you should put cheese on it. Okay, cake. Transitioning over to cake, coconut cake recipes. I did some research. Sally's Baking Addiction uses canned coconut milk, coconut extract, shredded coconut, and cream cheese frosting. Ina Garten uses shredded coconut in the cake and the frosting, and a cream cheese frosting. Pancake Princess said that Sally's Baking Addiction won overall, but King Arthur won for frosting. And King Arthur uses a coconut milk powder in both their cake and frosting recipes. Pancake Princess ranked Thomas Keller last for his mayonnaise-based cake. I've heard of mayonnaise-based chocolate cakes, but not vanilla. So most of these recipes that I'm referencing are butter-based cakes, which I really do not prefer. Allison Roman made a coconut cake that uses buttermilk, coconut oil, but also butter. Serious Eats use coconut flour, coconut oil, and coconut milk. I wasn't really impressed with any of these. So Whole Foods, I went to Whole Foods to get coconut. They only had unsweetened coconut flakes that are sort of in the texture of shards of glass, or what would be on the chocolate coconut cake donuts at Dunkin' Donuts. Not nearly as nice as the sweetened, wavy, soft, generic shredded coconut for baking that you can get at a regular grocery store. So these coconut flakes were so sharp that I was like, I don't even know if I want to put it in the cake batter or in the frosting. So I just toasted it and put it over the top at the very end. Anyway, as I was making this cake, I remembered a TikTok video that I saw from a person who was actually on Top Chef. I can't remember her name, but I liked her. She has a restaurant, she has a TikTok, and one of her pastry people, when they make their cakes, they make them in a circular pan. And to prevent the cake from doming, they give the cake pan a really quick spin so that it's like that ride at the state fair where it's like the centrifugal force sticks you to the side of the ride. The spinning movement makes the batter stick to the sides of the pan. I mean, obviously the pan stops spinning, so it doesn't really work, um but because the batter's on the side of the kind of stuck to the side of the pan a little bit, it makes the cake top flat. I don't know if it actually works. They didn't show us. There was no proof. And I tried it and didn't really work, but I was also using a square pan. Okay. Also, I forgot to buy cream cheese at the grocery store. But both Vermont Creamery creme fraiche and mascarpone were on sale, so I got both. So everything kind of worked out in the end. So anyway, I made my regular cake recipe. I ended up just using the chocolate cake recipe that I like, the oil-based iambaker.net recipe, but I just didn't add the cocoa. Baked it at 325 for about 35 minutes. Anyway, all this cake talk is reminding me of the time when I worked at Milk Bar and Christina Tosi wanted to do a cake walk outside of the Carroll Gardens location, which I don't know if it's still that way, but at the time it was Stroller City, Park Slope, very much family neighborhood. And so she wanted to do like a cake walk for children while blasting the song Birthday Cake by Rihanna on loop. And as like the cakewalk song. So when the song stops, that's where you land on the cakewalk. And I had to tell her what cake meant in the song. I had to tell her that she could not play Birthday Cake by Rihanna for the children. Okay, cinnamon. Okay, so I ended up making a coconut cinnamon cake. I don't know, the coconut made me think of like tiki drinks and velvet falernum, and then velvet falernum is like a cinnamon flavor, so I don't I just went with it. So I used 187 grams of all-purpose flour, 175 grams of granulated flour, sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, third cup vegetable oil, 1 cup buttermilk, quarter cup water. Frosting, 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 3 tablespoons of mascarpone, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 125 grams of confectioner's sugar, 2 tablespoons of heavy cream, 1 tablespoon of buttermilk, a little salt, and then I topped it with the toasted shredded coconut. This cake was okay, but it was not the cake for me. The icing was too dense. It was like wedding cake venue frosting. Like the structural part of the wedding cake that like you're not supposed to eat, but I always ended up tasting working at weddings because they would give us the leftovers of the wedding cake and it's like you're just eating a stick of butter. It tastes like you're eating a stick of butter. It's dense because it has to be. For a vanilla cake, a vanilla on vanilla cake, I love a grocery store sickly sweet, soft frosting. I want it to be like shortening or like oil based because if you don't have that cocoa powder to cover up the butter taste, like cold butter to me is disgusting. Cold fat in general is gross. So if you don't have that strong, powerful cocoa flavor to cover that up, you need to cover it up with a ton of sugar and a ton of vanilla. And I think that that flavor is more easily covered up when it's not butter. Shortening is more easily covered up. And also, shortening is not as hard as butter, so it stays softer even when it's cold. So really, I just want like a Walmart, Harris Teeter, local grocery store vanilla cake. Really processed. That's what I want. And I think that's hard to repeat at home. This reminded me of the time in the early 2000s, Paula Deen popularized 7-minute frosting on the Food Network, and my mom went off running with this idea. Everything was topped with 7-minute frosting. It's disgusting. What is the point? It tastes like nothing. So she's making a chocolate cake and then she puts frosting that tastes like nothing on it. I mean, it's just like whipping up egg whites and that you putting that on a cake. Like, what's the point? You might as well drink a glass of water. Anyway, I ended up throwing this cake away because look, it's not worth forcing myself to eat a cake and consuming calories that are not good for me at the end of the day unless it brings me some sort of delight. Brian has informed me that he does like a cake. It's rum cake. So he told me this last week and I made this cake and he's like, okay, well, I told you that I liked rum cake. I can't believe you haven't made it yet. I don't keep rum on hand. I'm not a pirate. Brian is also mad that I don't, quote, stalk little peps. He thinks I'm his stalkist, apparently, and that I should have small peppers in the fridge on hand at all times. I mean, it's like, what are you going to do with a little pep? A pepper. That's what he's talking about. Okay, April 10th, 2026. It was a Friday, 9 a.m. Leftover coffee with half and half. 10:30 a.m. Leftover frozen pizza. 2:30 p.m. Whole Foods queso with sriracha and late July tortilla chips. 6 p.m. Marinated gigante beans on olive oil toasted sourdough topped with chives, lemon zest, arugula, and a ricotta mascarpone and and lemon spread made at home, and a small pour of Broomtail Brewing brown ale. 7 p.m. Bluebell cookie two-step ice cream. So I added sriracha to the queso, which was great. Really big improvement. And my dream came true. The gigante beans in the bulk section of Whole Foods were on sale for $5.56. So I got some. I meant to get a pound, but look, the only container that my Whole Foods gives you is those like bulk no, those like super unstructured and thin plastic produce bags that will blow away if you breathe on them in the wrong angle. So you have to like try and catch the stuff that is falling out of the bulk bin thing with one hand because you have to pull the bulk bin lever down with one hand and then try and hold the bag open with your other hand. I mean, it's crazy. Also, there aren't any scales, so I ended up getting 2 pounds of the beans. So I soaked the gigante beans for about 4 hours. No skimming necessary. That was nice. Brought it to a boil, and I simmered it for a good 3 hours, maybe even more. I referenced this Alison Roman vinegar marinated butter beans recipe that she had. She uses canned beans, but she does say that they work on gigante beans. She uses a third of a cup of olive oil, which I did not do, for 2 15-ounce cans of butter, lima, or gigante beans, 1 small garlic clove, kosher salt and black pep, half a cup of red wine vinegar or white wine vinegar, freshly grated lemon zest. So I used I don't know. I mean, I guess probably, yeah, the same, like 30 ounces worth of beans, strained, and grated 2 cloves of garlic. I used some of the red wine vinegar from American Vinegar Works. It's a small bottle that I got for Christmas. I guess it's like a New England or Massachusetts based vinegar, small batch vinegar company. And then I also used leftover pickling liquid that was flavored with garlic and black peppercorns. And then I did add a little bit of olive oil, La Tourangelle olive oil, and then I added a little bit of Gustiamo oregano, salt and pepper. This was great. It's better the longer it sits. I really wanted to taste like the stuff you can get at like an antipasto bar or whatever at the grocery store. And the problem is you have to let it come up to temp So you can't like eat it straight out of the fridge because the olive oil hardens in the fridge. So that's the only downside of that. I guess you could strain it, but then I don't know. While I was making that, one of my sisters was at a place that had a marinated gigante bean on the menu. I'll let you know what it is. Yuzu aioli, lemon chips, tropical chili crunch, herb aioli. Why would it have two aiolis? Anyway, I thought that sounded good. I also, how are they crispy? Are they fried? Crispy. Oh, sorry. Crispy marinated gigante beans. Yuzu aioli, lemon chips, tropical chili crunch. What is tropical chili crunch? Okay, so I made this like toast meal for dinner. Marinated gigante beans on olive oil, toasted sourdough. This felt like something you would order at a new restaurant in your neighborhood, in your city, whose name is in a Nouveau 70s font because when they hired a designer for their restaurant, the only inspiration or reference photo they gave to the designer was the Graza olive oil bottle. And the restaurant doesn't really belong in the neighborhood yet, but they have a fat slice of toast on the menu that is perfectly golden and topped with an assortment of pantry staples that don't really go together. And most of the local community sees the restaurant and doesn't really bother looking at the menu because it's not for them. But if they did look at the menu, they would be like, oh, okay, I guess we can't afford toast anymore. That's what this dish is. It's like people who like art who make a restaurant, and it's probably not going to be open for that long. You know that they have natural wine on the menu. Okay, April 11th, 2026 was a Saturday. 8:30 a.m. Little Waves coffee with half and half made at home. 11 a.m. A slice of toasted sourdough with Isigny butter made at home. 3 p.m. 2 Miller High Life ponies, Eastern North Carolina asparagus, spring onion and arugula salad with garlicky breadcrumbs and pecorino dressing, tempesta porchetta pizza with Castelvetrano olives and crucola cheese, a buffalo stracciatella pizza with oil cured anchovies, pink peppercorns, and pecorino, chili oil, and an espresso at Pizzeria Toro in Durham, North Carolina, and a Stony Creek brand neon sour ring. 6 p.m. A slice of chocolate cake with vanilla mascarpone buttercream made at home. It is soft shell crab season, so Brian and I decided to go to Saltbox in Durham to go get soft shell crab. It's their special. I said, let's go. They open at 11. Let's like leave now and like get there when they open. Brian said, I need to go water the potatoes. 2 hours later, he came back and I was like, well, you took so long. I decided to make cake. Anyway, by the time we got to Saltbox, it was like after 1 p.m. There was a wicked line. We stood in the line. By the time we got up to the register to order, they told us that they were out of soft shell crab and it would be a 40-minute wait to get food. So I was like, let's just go. But look, gas is so expensive. I was like, we already drove all the way to Durham. We're eating somewhere. By the way, line culture. Brian was like, Brian lived with a different Durham 10 years ago and way before that. Durham is changing. Line culture has come to Durham. It's line culture is killing spontaneity, is killing fun. Whoever has the luxury of time to wait in a line wins. I guess now that we are a society of convenience and consumption, people need something to do with their extra time, so it might as well just be standing in a line in the hot sun. Standing in line for expensive food makes me ultimately feel like an idiot. So I'm glad I got out of there. I was thinking all these things all day and talking to Brian about it. And then when I got home later that night, I watched a TikTok video. A TikTok video came in my algorithm about line culture by Hannah Horvath, I think that's her name. Your Brain on Muddy is her handle. I like her. She talks about like money and millennials and Gen Z and the economy and like how we're dealing with things. Anyway, she does talk about line culture. She has a great breakdown on that on TikTok. Um, and then of course I thought of Thornstein Veblen, is that how you say his name? Conspicuous leisure. I had to paste the definition in here. The public display of non productive time, such as lavish vacations, hobbies, or idle manners, such as waiting in line to get a bagel, to signal high social status and wealth, as he writes about it in the Theory of the Leisure class. Anyway, Adam Rothstein, I've been following him on TikTok. He like also goes and stands in line in places in like Los Angeles, matcha shops, coffee shops, just like stupid places. And he stands in line and makes videos about them. And he's really funny. He went to a place called Community Goods in Los Angeles and stood in line forever to get a piece of toast. This is the restaurant I'm talking about. They sell toast and matcha. Um, I made a comment saying, or he was making fun of the groceries that they have in the restaurant. They have like a really expensive, like tinned fish and other provisions once you get in there. And I said, well, the regulars who go to this place probably have to do their grocery shopping in there because they don't have time to do anything else because they're spending all their time waiting in line to get toast. Anyway, you should follow him on TikTok. Pizzeria Toro. Here's my Pizzeria Toro review. I've tried to eat here multiple times. There's always been like an hour plus wait. Brian has been trying to eat here for a while. I've had their Amaro before. They make an Amaro with Calabrian chilies that's really good. This was the loudest restaurant I've ever been to. I'm not even sure why they were bothering to play music. Like when the person who was screaming behind us took a breath, you could kind of tell that there was music playing somewhere in the restaurant, like not on someone's phone, like intentionally being played in the restaurant. It was insane. Like I had to cover my ears for the first 10 minutes we were in there. So the restaurant is very small. It's very claustrophobic, but also airy at the same time. It has like a big vaulted ceiling almost, and I feel like it just catches all the sound. There isn't a rug or a wall hanging to be found, not a cushion or like a back cushion or a seat cushion. There isn't any fabric anywhere to be found that could possibly absorb some of the screaming and yelling. There's nothing. I felt bad for everybody working. We had the best server, but I don't think I could eat here again because of how loud it was. Now, eventually that table left. It was one table that was, I mean, I couldn't believe it. It's like how they were screaming at the top of their lungs the entire time. Like, obviously, they weren't eating everything if they had time to scream for every minute they were in there. I think it just made me so angry that people could be so inconsiderate in a small restaurant. There's no outdoor space, no outdoor seating option, which would be fabulous. Because pizza and salad is like what is like great for an outdoor option. Like if it cools off in the wind, it's not that big of a deal. I would go back if they had outdoor seating, but I can't risk it. Like even the quieter tables around us were too loud in that space. You could hear everybody's conversation. Unless restaurants being loud is an epidemic, people have written about it, but this was out of control. This was another level. I couldn't even have a conversation with Brian because we couldn't hear each other over this other person screaming or this group of people screaming. This is I had this like triggering food memory come up this week, and I was like, I don't know if I could connect this to anything. But this is how I'm gonna make the connection and work it in. So when I was, like, 7 or 8, I went to a sleepover at a friend's house, one of my best friends, and I don't know, there were, like, 8 girls over, and her parents went down to our local bakery, Harpo's Bakery at the bottom of the hill by the river, and got these 12 cinnamon rolls, and I was so excited because my parents never let us go to that bakery for some reason, and I was finally gonna have a beautiful fat cinnamon roll from Harpo's Bakery, and her parents sat the box of a dozen cinnamon rolls down the table, opened it, and the girls around me went feral, and they grabbed all the cinnamon rolls. Some of the girls grabbed 2. They grabbed as many cinnamon rolls as they could and just started shoving them in their mouths. So I got 0 cinnamon rolls, and I sat there next to all these girls as they hoarded and funneled these cinnamon rolls into their mouths. And I feel like that was, like, a big turning point for me. It's like a memory I can pinpoint to where I was like, "Oh, I hate people." And I hate inconsiderate people. And for some reason, everybody at that table was inconsiderate. Nobody realized, "Oh, you didn't get a cinnamon roll." And I took 2. I took 3 cinnamon rolls and, like, I'm slobbering all over them. And even after all of that, like, nobody noticed that I hadn't gotten a cinnamon roll. And I was 7, but yeah, could I have spoken up for myself? I guess. I was super quiet, obviously. But I think that's why inconsiderate people make me so deeply upset. I think Beverly on America's Culinary Cup jumping up and down and clapping when she won and ignoring her opponent who was sent home, like her inconsideration, I think that's why Beverly triggers me so much because she's so inconsiderate. She's so self-centered. So it's super exhausting for me to socialize with people, especially in groups, because I feel like I'm so hypervigilant because I'm trying to prevent anybody from ever feeling the way I did the day of the cinnamon sleepover incident. And I'm getting over that. I'm trying to get over that. But obviously, like Brian was not as annoyed as I was about these people screaming in the restaurant. He was still obviously like, this is fucking crazy. But I think I'm, like, understanding why I was so deeply upset by this. So rude, like, you're ruining everybody else's experience in the restaurant. Anyway, let's talk about the food. So, great I mean, the salad was fine. I don't know if I would order it again, it was good. I mean, it was, like, basically an arugula salad. Um I need to scroll up and see what I actually ate. Oh, it's funny, I was just talking about how a Miller High Life Pony, like the little short and stout bottle, is the perfect serving of beer for me, especially for a hot summer day, a little daytime drinking, a really short half beer is perfect. We used to serve them at when I worked at that bar in Talia Hall with Brian. Ah, man, it was perfect. So, to encounter them in the wild, and they were $1.50 each. It was perfect. What else do we eat? This buffalo stracciatella pizza with the anchovies, pink peppercorns, and pecorino was divine. It tasted like, what did it taste like? It tasted like the nat natural, in quotes, white cheddar, um Cheetos, which is a good thing for me. Also, the pink peppercorns, I really wanted that because when Brian and I would go to Rootstock every week in Chicago, they had a chicken liver mousse with pink peppercorns. That was our favorite thing on the menu. My cat's slamming the cabinets. I gotta go. I'm back. Now, the other pizza was good. It was like we got 2 pizzas, and like you have one slice of one slice of the other, and then for your third slice, sometimes it's pretty obvious which one you're gonna go back to, but I was like, I don't know. We actually ended up finishing both of the pizzas just because I didn't think they were gonna travel well. They were kind of floppy, huge crust. Like, the crust was, like, a little bit too big, if I'm being picky. For Durham, this was excellent pizza. Unfortunately, I did spend most of my life in pizza territory, so I do have a different judgment zone. Remember the Pizzone from Pizza Hut? Never had one. Okay, the Tempesta porchetta pizza. The porchetta was from Tempesta, which is a Chicago place. They make meat products, but they also had like a really good sandwich restaurant that I've been to with my sister, I think. I think we got a muffaletta there. Really good sandwiches and really good andouille spread. I think they popularized that, but I could be wrong. Um, but and the chili oil was really good. I did say that the pony High Life was the perfect size for a beer, but I actually did order a second one. I don't know. I was just like, why not? If we're gonna sit here and eat all this pizza, let's get a second one. And I can't hear anything anyway, so I might as well just drink a beer. Brian switched to a Peroni, which came in the perfect glass. They had a great glassware selection here. I got a espresso after the meal. Brian got a Chinar. I just think Chinar is too sweet. Anyway, yet another place with a lengthy Amaro list, yet no Santa Maria al Monte, which is the perfect Amaro. I don't know when people are going to wake up. And I do love eating a meal like this in the daytime, like beverages, a salad, multiple mains, an after dinner something. Like I love eating that. I don't know, it was like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, home by 5 to sort of laze away the evening, enjoy a few more hours of sunlight. Um, and have a piece of cake later or something small. Like that was perfect. Also, they did not charge us for the digestives, which was very nice. I think that our server thought that we worked in a restaurant nearby. He kept like saying things like, "Oh, well, you guys are professionals," or like he clearly thought that we worked in a restaurant, which is funny because we did work in restaurants for most of our professional careers, the two of us, and this happens a lot, but it's like the Durham restaurant scene is pretty small. Like, I think if we worked in another Durham restaurant, like, we would already know each other and you would know which restaurant we worked at. I don't know. But anyway, I don't know if that's why he comped us or what, but it was very nice. He was a great, fantastic server. Brian did work in Durham restaurants for a while, so I wonder if maybe this guy recognized him. But Brian also delivered farm produce to restaurants the first 3 to 4 years we lived here together. So maybe he just recognized Brian. I don't know. Anyway, tough. I mean, I had a fabulous experience, but I really think they should consider relocating their restaurant to a different space. Okay, on the way home, Brian stopped at a gas station to get 2 Diet Coke Tall Boys and a pack of Stone Creek brand neon sour rings, like total gas station brand that sells like sunflower seeds, different flavors of sunflower seeds. You know what that packaging looks like. Brian kept offering me neon sour rings. I finally ate one, but they smelled so bad. They smelled like diabetes. They smelled like when you walk into a carpeted house like in the 90s where a lot of children are playing. That's what it smelled like. Daycare center. Anyway, Brian's parents let us know that Brian's cousin had paid for multiple steak meals from the local fire station for us, and we needed to pick them up. So the fire station does fundraisers just like the church. They'll make Brunswick stew, which I talked about, or they'll do like a steak dinner. And every year someone buys steak dinners on our behalf to support the fire station, and we end up with a few of them in our fridge. They are horrendous. I mean, it's good that Brian's cousin bought them because he needs to support the fire department because he's always setting fires. This feels like a good time to mention that the firehouse subs in my hometown caught on fire and burned down. Anyway, this steak dinner, imagine the worst steak possible. It's in a styrofoam container. It's well done, yet unseared, unseasoned. It's floppy. It's wet. There's a plain baked potato in foil, nothing to put on it. There's a separate container that has a little bit of salad in it, which is iceberg lettuce. It looks like it's been shredded by hand. 2 slices of dried out cucumber, a single cherry tomato, a ton of mixed shredded cheese, no dressing, and then a fat slice of square toast. Brian's slowly been eating these. I just dumped out the salads into the compost because I know that Brian's not going to eat them. They were already gray. They've it's been like 48 hours. They're already gray, and the smell reminded me of being in the school cafeteria in elementary school with my friend, who's the one who hosted the sleepover party with the cinnamon roll incident. Her mom used to pack her butter and iceberg lettuce sandwiches for lunch, and the smell of the iceberg reminded me of that. I don't know why. Yes, and I did make another cake. I memorized the chocolate cake recipe at this point. I made the chocolate buttermilk cake base with a vanilla mascarpone buttercream frosting. Took a really long time to get this buttercream smooth. Switched from the whisk to the paddle on my KitchenAid. Eventually worked out. And at room temp, it was kind of like a Dunkaroo style, really nice vanilla frosting. But ultimately it got a little too hard, and it got a little too hard when it's cold and kind of tasted like the filling of an Oreo. But I think if I switched over to using shortening, it would like, because I want that cold cake um texture, but I don't know, something about the vanilla frosting, like I'm a lot more picky with it. Um I want it to be soft when it's cold. I don't want to start any feuds, but my favorite cake flavor combo is chocolate cake vanilla frosting, I think, followed by double chocolate, followed but also kind of tied by double vanilla, and concluding with vanilla cake chocolate frosting, which is classically usually yellow cake with like a milk chocolate frosting for some reason. If we're being honest, chocolate and vanilla are tied because vanilla and chocolate are just tied in general in the cake industry, but not in the ice cream industry. I think chocolate ice cream is superior to vanilla ice cream. But for cold cake in particular, I think chocolate is the best combination. Okay, April 12th, 2026, it's Sunday, 9 a.m. Little Waves coffee with half and half made at home. 10 a.m. Fried rice with scrambled eggs, onions and peas made at home. 12:30 p.m. Whole Foods queso with sriracha and late July tortilla chips. 3:30 p.m. A slice of chocolate cake with vanilla mascarpone buttercream. 6:30 p.m. Marinated gigante beans. 8 p.m. A slice of toasted sourdough with Isini butter made at home. Okay, that is all that I have. Amazing. Talk to you later.